Coming up on Tech News Today, Volvo aims for a perfectly safe car, 0 fatalities. HP loses a CEO, but gains a PR nightmare, I guess. And we invent the term CowyHorse. Find out what it means.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Friday, August 6, 2010. Tech News Today is brought to you by Gazelle, the easy way to sell or recycle the used gadgets lying around your home or office. For a 5% bonus payment for your used gadgets, go to gazelle.com, bonus code TNT. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Sarah Lane.
Behind the board is John Slanina, a.k.a. Jammerby, once again.
Jammerby!
We thought we were going to get Eric back today, but he's still under a pile of editing. It's like laying on him. So rescue crews are working on it. Pull it off of him.
We're hoping he's still got enough oxygen to survive.
But we're happy to have Jammerby along. And also happy to have a guest with us today, Veronica Belmont, host of Core on the PlayStation Network and co-host of Techzilla at Revision 3.
Hello.
We should also mention she's very good at karaoke.
Yeah, she's incredible at karaoke.
Kind of a
it was little
like a songbird who invited us all to the room just to show off.
Like a crazy person that grabs the microphone out of everyone's hands and has
There were a couple times when I was like,
single song.
Is that a backing track? No, Veronica's actually singing.
Very loudly.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I mean, we all like to
thing.
sing loudly, just only a few of us are good. Tom and I excluded.
Yes. I only like to sing loudly. I don't get the second half of that.
You guys were great.
Yeah.
You were drunk. All right. Let's move on to some sad news for Hewlett-Packard. CEO Mark Hurd has just announced that he's resigning over a sexual harassment investigation. So I guess there was a contractor who came forward and alleged sexual harassment, and then an investigation began. I don't know what other things they found on it, but he has come out and said, you know, I've made mistakes. I don't want this to be, disruptive to the company. And clearly, it is the board wants me to go, and so he's out.
I mean, that's one of those situations where it's pretty cut and dry. He's not denying anything. He recognizes that any drawing out of the situation will be unhelpful to all parties.
He admits to violating HP's standards of business conduct.
Well, I mean, some of those, we've been in the sexual harassment meetings. I'm sure we've all been in a few of them. I know I have. And
the ones at CNET were fantastic. Fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't as good as the
great
Tech
lines.
TV ones.
I don't really enjoy any of them. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I've never really thought that they were a lot of fun.
No.
Sometimes it depends on who you know and what your working relationship is with folks, and it's very easy to kind of like, yeah, right. But I would say that, quite honestly, it's easy to violate some of that stuff.
Well, HP said it found no violations of its harassment policy, only violations of standards of business conduct, but he's stepping down. He's resigning from Hewlett-Packard. I mean, that's huge.
It's huge, and I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, but...
Did people actually say what happened? Like what went down? Oh, bad choice of words.
Care to speculate?
Mark Andreessen will be leading the charge to replace Mark Hurd. In the meantime, their CFO is stepping up to take over as the interim CEO. That's Kathy Lesjak, who has been with the company for quite a while.
Well, we'll see how this affects HP, I suppose.
Also serious news today, the Saudi Arabian ban on BlackBerry looked like it happened for a while today. For about 4 hours, people's service with BlackBerry was disrupted, but then it came back online and they said, no, we've decided not to do the ban. We're working with RIM. And the reports from the BBC say that services are up and running again across the country, and that they're in discussions. Well, at least according to Reuters, they're in discussions with the Saudi Arabian government on a couple of ways to fix the problem. One would be to bring a server into Saudi Arabia. Another would be to provide some sort of access, which they've said up till now they couldn't provide.
It sounds like they are doing the servers in Saudi Arabia. What I didn't realize is that that's one of their biggest, if not biggest, market is actually Saudi Arabia. I had no idea.
Yeah, and the ban was only supposed to be on BlackBerry Messenger. The outage earlier today affected email and web as well as Messenger. So I think that may have been a glitch as they tried to tweak the network to accommodate whatever requests Saudi Arabia is making of them. But it looks like BlackBerry is giving in some part, and Saudi Arabia is giving in some part themselves.
Well, I guess BlackBerry has to, at least in part because of what Veronica said. It's a big, big market. And, you know, that's kind of like Google in China, I guess. You got to find a happy medium.
So, yeah, it's tough because you don't want to have users actually worry about their messages being compromised. But at the same time, when you do have a large foothold in a market like that, that's a huge segment of your business, and losing that would be really detrimental.
So it'll be interesting to see what the details of this arrangement end up being. We'll have to wait till Monday to find that out at the earliest anyway. Meanwhile, United Arab Emirates still has a threat of a ban in place for October. So they've got a lot more time to work something out. This will probably be the precedent-setting situation, don't you think?
Well, didn't this happen with Russia, too? I mean, didn't they somehow work out a deal with Russia in the past between RIM and the government there?
Yeah, that's right. There has been an arrangement with Russia, and a lot of people have pointed at that, saying, well, what are you talking about, RIM? You can accommodate countries, and whether you should or not is a whole different question. But what RIM was saying is, well, we don't have the key, and now it looks like they may create some sort of situation where they have a server in Saudi Arabia, and there is a master key for the encryption that would go to the Saudi Arabian government.
I find it hard to believe that they don't have a key. I mean, that just doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, it depends. We were talking a lot about this, and the way public key encryption works, I mean, there could be a situation where they only have one half of the key and they couldn't decrypt. But Bruce Schneier pointed out in an article that the information is unencrypted at some point. BlackBerry applies the encryption, and so BlackBerry would have it in plain text at a certain point in the process, even if they don't have the key at the end.
Interesting. Well, I'm curious to see how this whole thing ends up because, like you said, it probably will set a major precedent, at least for Middle Eastern countries, because it seems as though they didn't have that problem when it wasn't, Saudi Arabia or the UAE.
Also, might be a security problem for you is that private browsing mode you've been relying on, Veronica.
Why, Tom?
For all my porno habits.
Yep. Yeah. What? Porn? No.
What? No, I mean for
I thought it was just, for privacy.
Research.
Yes.
Privacy.
The private browsing modes on modern browsers leak information like a sieve, according to this BBC article. A study was done that found that most of the time, add-ons or extensions will record the very information you think you're preventing by using the private mode. The study was done by computer scientist Stan Bonnet from Stanford University. Studied Firefox, Internet Explorer, Chrome, and Safari.
Okay. This makes so much sense, and yet it's something I never would have thought of. But once you think about it, you're like, oh, crap. If you have all these plugins installed and add-ons and extensions, you really have no idea where that information is going and what they're tracking.
Right. I don't know about you guys, but I love my extensions.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm pretty much using...
But they could be reporting back to whoever's making them, too, at the same time.
Hmm?
You don't wear extensions. Oh, you're talking about browser extensions.
What is with you today?
I don't know.
You're in quite a mood.
It's Friday. Yeah, no, exactly. I don't use a lot of extensions because I don't like it to wear down my browser, but the ones I use, I absolutely love. Now, one of the ones I use is NoScript. I'm pretty sure that one's not logging anything, but there are a lot of extensions that would log their own stuff, and the private browsing mode doesn't touch those. They have their own logs separate from the rest of it.
Well, so I guess either use Opera browser, one of the browsers that this doesn't apply to. Don't have private browsing mode on if you actually want it to work, or don't use any add-ons.
Yeah.
So I think the answer is probably the add-ons.
Yeah.
Be your safest bet if you're really hell-bent on keeping your browsing private.
Yeah, you can have a browser where you can just run Opera with no extensions, no add-ons of any kind. And that would just be your private browser. You can
sit back on your high horse and say, ha, 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 ha.
And you could be smug because you use Opera.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break before we get into the new news about GPS surveillance. Want to thank our sponsor, Gazelle. I am going to use them. In fact, I have this on my to-do list to sell my old iPhone. They're a great service, especially if you've just got some electronics around and you don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to dispose of it. You go onto the Gazelle website, gazelle.com. They take smartphones, MP3 players, ebook readers, laptops, cameras, gaming consoles, GPS devices, video games, whatever. 20 product categories, over 200,000 unique items. And then you type in the condition, you type in the model, and they either give you cash or they help you recycle it. So even if it's not worth anything, they'll still take it and they'll recycle it responsibly. And 60 Minutes did a thing a while back about irresponsible recycling. And so when I was still at CNET, we did a look into ways to responsibly recycle. And Gazelle, which was under another name at the time, was one of the places we recommended. Here's how it works. You go to their website, you enter the make and model, you see how much you can get for it. They send you a check. They send you a box. You send the box back. You keep the check. You cash it. And there you go. You've sold your gadget. You got paid. You can even select payment as PayPal or Amazon or a Walmart gift card. You get a 5% bonus with an Amazon gift card. So why not try it out? In fact, we will give you a bonus, a 5% bonus if you use the bonus code TNT when you get rid of your old gadgets on Gazelle. That's gazelle.com, bonus code TNT. Don't just sell it, Gazelle it.
I was going to make the gazelle noise just then.
It's a pun.
But I don't know what the gazelle noise is. Yeah, I was going to do sort of a horse.
Right.
But I don't know if that's correct.
Kind of a light CowyHorse.
A CowyHorse?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit today firmly rejected government claims that federal agents can install a GPS device on your car without telling you, or without getting a warrant.
So what prompted this decision?
It's like something out of The Wire. So 2 nightclub owners were busted for narcotics, distribution and possession.
Okay.
And part of the case they built against them involved their whereabouts at certain times, which they gathered by shooting apparently a dart. They didn't say exactly, but the court case described a dart that would stick to a car when shot and provide GPS information.
And the court said you can't do that because you didn't file a warrant first.
Exactly. The police tried to make, or the feds tried to make the argument that driving around in public is public information, so you shouldn't have an expectation of privacy for this. But the judge said, well, driving around in public and looking at people, well, that's one thing. Actually putting an electronic device and tracking every single second, you do have an expectation of privacy then because you don't know it's there, you can't see it. And so he has said, you know what? We're going to throw this out of court. So one of the nightclub owners is still busted on other evidence, but one of them went free.
And
one of them walks.
If this story took place in Baltimore, then it would just be perfect.
I know, seriously.
Like,
is one of these guys named Orlando?
Dart
yeah.
In the getaway car? I mean, it doesn't get any better. It's interesting, though, that they're treating it almost like getting a warrant, to search a home, right? Because what's going on behind closed doors, you can't see, you don't know, but you have to go through the proper channels in order to get access to that. Same thing. Car goes away, goes around the corner. At that point, you don't know what's going on without certain tools that you, I guess, shouldn't have access to.
Yeah,
at least in this case.
I think there are some conflicting rulings in other states on this. I know in Wisconsin once it was ruled that it was okay under a certain situation to put a GPS device without a warrant. So I think this is going to end up in the Supreme Court at some point, and they're going to have to decide once and for all. I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge here. I'm on the fence because I do get the police argument that if you're driving around, that's public knowledge. But I do think the court identified something different about putting a GPS tracker. I think like a wiretap, you probably need a court order of some sort to get a GPS device shot onto a car.
Yeah, even though the idea itself is really cool.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like Batman. It makes me think of Batman.
It makes me think of Spider-Man.
Or Spider-Man. Well,
because of the sticky part.
I guess.
But it's a
stuck to the car, and
it's a Batman-like gadget. Batman took some of Spider-Man's sticky stuff and put it on a dart and turned it into one of his gadgets.
Okay, that's funny.
I think that's funny. Thank you.
Nightclub owners everywhere can rest easy tonight.
Yeah.
They can't track you via DART.
I saw in the chat room somebody saying, like, Tom and Sarah are from small towns. I'm like, oh, it's because of all this stuff about, city and narcotics. No, it's because we said CowyHorse.
What does being from a small town have to do
Somebody
with it?
had
Because
accused
we're
us
used
of
to
being from
cow-horse
the
hybrids?
city, and someone was responding saying, no, they're from small towns.
Oh,
A
because
cow-horse hybrid? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
well, it's because it made it sound like we didn't know much about farm animals.
Right.
Actually, I
Believe
know
me.
quite a bit, chat room.
More
More than I'd like to admit.
Let's quickly jump off of farm animals into Windows Phone
Yes,
7.
I think that's a great idea.
There is
those farm
a
animals.
picture in a gadget today of a purported Windows Phone 7 device that showed up in Pakistan, has an angular headset, bears a serial number on top, made by Asus, or at least powered by Asus, with a brush metal finish and what looks like it might be an OLED panel.
It also looks a lot like the iPhone 4 frame on top of a doily.
Because of the squarishness of it. It does seem to be on top of some doily-like blanket.
Well, it looks like a lot of HTC phones out or coming out in the near future.
Yeah, but it's Asus.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and it's got that big serial number at the top. I don't know. I think this has got a 50% chance of being fake. It could be somebody just...
chance, huh?
Somebody took a Windows Phone 7 download developer copy and put it on something, maybe. I don't know. It has the look of fakery to me. I think
the doily is throwing me off.
I think more or gauze. That might be gauze. More likely is that HTC Windows Phone 7 device that was filed with the FCC is something we will see. HTC is going to make a stateside debut. The only identifying mark in the FCC filing was the PD 26100 model number. But we know from the test reports that it'll have Bluetooth, 802.11n, Wi-Fi, support for GSM 850, UMTS 1 and 2, and we don't know really anything else about it, but it kind of looks like it might be an HTC Desire type thing.
That's what happened. I was looking at the picture of the Asus phone and reading the story about the HTC phone, and I confused them in my brain.
Yeah, no, the HTC one has got a little more weight to it because it's an actual filing. So we're starting to see leaks of some of the first Windows phones, and that's kind of exciting. I'm excited to see these phones. I think they're going to be good stuff.
Yeah.
In the future, Volvo is going to guarantee you won't die if you drive their car.
Impossible, Tom.
The car... Oh, shoot. What was my line?
Or is it?
Or is it?
Come on.
See, we
practiced
you
these.
can never do these jokes twice.
No.
The car is rated for 0 fatalities. John Brandon reports that Volvo has launched a program called Vision 2020, which states by 2020, nobody shall be seriously injured or killed in a new Volvo. Nobody.
Wait a second.
This is going to cause so many problems down the line. Every single time someone gets in a car accident, gets hurt or killed, it's just going to be like, well, you said
exactly
no one was going to get killed ever again, and you're one of your cars.
What if you try to hurt yourself?
It's like asking for trouble.
I mean, if you kill yourself, you can't sue, but if you hurt yourself really badly and come back...
Well, they're only claiming you won't be seriously injured or killed. So, yeah, seriously injured. They're saying you won't even be serious. Well, here's what they're saying. They've got all of this technology for communicating dangers to and from the car. There will be a confluence of safety technologies like road sign recognition, pedestrian detection, autonomous car controls, and they say that they're you can't fault them for the aim. You want to get
Volvo's
to that.
They've always pushed. That's always been what they're known for, is that they're the safe car. I remember when we were all in high school getting first cars, a lot of kids had the hand-me-down Volvos because the parents wanted them to drive the safe car.
Right.
But it sounds just like kind of legal. It's kind of a legal nightmare for saying we've got a lot of features in place to make you still feel like Volvo's a safe car.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of marketing hype in this. I agree. But if you pull back from that a little and just think of it as a company saying, we want a goal of the safest car possible by the year 2020, and our goal is going to be 0 fatalities. Maybe they won't get there, but you got to applaud that as a goal. It's a good idea.
It's a good goal.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, you can't say it isn't, but it just, I don't know. It makes me nervous.
I just don't think there's such thing as a 0 fatality.
It's always dangerous to speak in absolutes, as I have learned through many years of podcasting. It is
Tom,
always
you said
a bad idea.
You said you said you're going to wear a blue shirt today. You liar. I can't trust anything.
It's blue.
Worst TNT ever.
Yes, but there's something to make you happy.
What?
Jolly Cloud 1.0 is out.
Oh.
You can pronounce it Jolly Cloud, which makes you happier.
Jolly Cloud.
Yeah,
Jolly
Cloud
Cloud
is a web-centric Linux distribution for netbooks. Reached an important milestone this week with the launch of version 1.0. Now, Veronica, you used to use Jolly Cloud. You used a netbook with it, right?
Yeah, I had it on my HP Mini 1000, and I believe I updated to the alpha version. I just don't really have a need to use a netbook anymore, so I haven't been using it as often. But I'm looking forward to upgrading it, actually, because I'm lending it to a friend when he goes on a trip in the next few days. But I need to upgrade the software first and make him a profile on the OS. So, yeah, I will hopefully get to see Jolly Cloud 1.0 and get a little hands-on time with it before he does.
Now, why did you end up stop using it? Did it have to do with Jolly Cloud, or was it the form, was it form factor of the
Jolly
netbook?
Cloud. It has nothing to do with the OS whatsoever. It's more that I just don't really take netbooks around with me anymore. If I'm traveling, I'm either taking my my actual MacBook Pro, or I'm just taking my phone with me. And if I had an iPad, I would probably just take that. There's still that middle ground that I don't really have a good use for at this point.
But what is there about Jolly Cloud that you like? I mean, what is it to recommend to someone if they're thinking about trying it? Because I know a lot of people are probably wondering, like, why should I even bother? There's plenty, I can go with Android or Windows or something like, Ubuntu. Which Jolly Cloud's based on.
I really like the interface. Installing and using applications on it is really, really simple. There's pretty good file management built into the OS as well. And it's just kind of fun. I mean, you can download all these great web apps on there and use a lot of programs that you're used to using on your main PC or Mac, like Audacity, for example, or Dropbox. So it's good to take with you on the go, for sure.
All right. Well, you can check it out now. It's official. It's 1.0. It's ready. Meanwhile, Twitter unleashed a new feature this week, suggestions for who to follow, and Sarah's pissed about it.
Well, I'm not. I wouldn't say. So we should first distinguish that this is not the suggested users list coming back. That was something different where a lot of people got a lot of followers. Some people that I know were on the suggested users list. I'm not going to name any names.
What?
But anyway, that was a different idea. That was more sort of geared toward people who were signing up for Twitter who were trying to figure out what it all meant. So they would suggest users for you. This is when you're actually on Twitter now, over on the right-hand rail. It's got suggestions on who you might follow based on who your friends are already following. So what they're trying to do is say, you're kind of maybe twice removed from this person. Maybe you'd like to follow them. So in essence, I think it's a good idea, but what I don't like about it is, first of all, you can't collapse it.
I know. That's been driving me crazy, too.
You can get rid of individuals. You could click the little X, but it only replaces them with another person. It doesn't get rid of the thing. Yeah,
it reminded me, I tweet a lot. It reminds me a lot like Facebook, when they'll suggest a friend and I'll kind of go, and you close that, but then it'll just populate with something else.
Right.
Another thing I don't like about it is, it doesn't have any information, or it's certainly not using the information like, have I followed somebody in the past, then unfollowed them for some reason. Now, there are many reasons that people follow and unfollow each other, and we all have our reasons for that. But there are folks that have been suggested to me that I've already unfollowed because I didn't feel I had enough in common with them. And, sometimes you just do these things. And that bothers me because it's like, well, Twitter should know.
What's bothering me is it's suggesting I follow BP Global PR.
Me too. I got that yesterday.
But isn't it the funny account?
It's the funny account, but if we're not following yet...
And Craig Ferguson.
Are we going to follow it now?
No, probably not.
I like to choose who to follow, and I don't know, I think that discovery is part of the fun for me.
I have found a few people that I was like, oh, I thought I was following you already. Now I realize that I don't, so I was able to add them. But at the same time, I really wish I had the option to not have to have that box there, to at least collapse it or remove it completely, or have a separate page where I know there is one where you can see that big list of people on one page. I'd rather have that than have it pop up in my sidebar.
Me too. I think if they just collapse, if I was able to collapse it the way I can with lists or saved searches or the trending topics, then I really wouldn't be complaining. Right now I have Merlin Man and Zappos.com.
You're not following Merlin?
There's two. I know. Well, see, that's a good example of somebody that I think I thought I was. Well, so I'll follow him. Fine.
See?
I guess it is good.
It totally
sometimes.
works.
It totally works.
I've definitely, it's funny, Veronica, I've had the same feeling as you, where I see somebody, I'm like, oh, I'm not following that person, but instead of following them, I go, there must be a good reason. And then I hesitate.
Good
Like,
research.
maybe, why am I not following them? Why?
People are saying, well, why not just use a Twitter client? I use both, actually, day to day, depending on what I'm doing. Sometimes TweetDeck just doesn't update for me enough, and I need to go check something, so I go to the website, or I'm just browsing around on the internet, and I go to the website for some reason or the other. And then I notice it. I notice the suggestions, and it bothers me. Maybe if you could drag it down so it would be under the, I don't know, maybe add a little more flexibility to the layout of the page.
Yeah.
Be nice.
That would be good. Yeah, just be able to drag it. I want to customize my right-hand rail, Twitter. Make it
I actually like the idea, but I do wish I could have it be optional.
What if you hated somebody and it suggested it, though?
Over and over.
You just X them out, right?
Yeah,
But you still have to get annoyed for a while, and maybe it ruins your day.
If you X them out, do they never come back again?
I think we are overthinking this.
Yeah, I think so
Maybe
too. Let's
I don't
move
think they'll
on.
come back again,
Let's move on to the news fuse, and we want to thank Elliot Frazier, who is in the chat room, I believe. He was earlier, who created a little intro for us.
News views. Don't expect the Beatles to come to iTunes anytime soon, Tom, Veronica, and Jammer B. Yoko Ono told Reuters news service Steve Jobs has his own idea, and he's a brilliant guy. There's just an element that we're not very happy about as people. We're holding out. Don't hold your breath for anything, she said with a laugh.
Screeching, piercing laugh.
I'm not going to mimic the laugh because it'll just be wrong.
Fred, a character created by Nebraska teenager Lucas Cruikshank, is getting his own TV movie next month on Nickelodeon. Fred has made his name on YouTube with a show where he talks like this a lot. Nickelodeon is owned by Viacom, which is still pursuing a lawsuit against YouTube. So not a lot of cross-promotional opportunities here, I don't think.
Yeah. He's big.
That looked interesting.
He's big on YouTube.
I hadn't heard of him before. Does that make me old?
It doesn't make you old, but I am surprised.
If he's too annoying, you're too old.
Not on the YouTubes very much. I don't know much about like the YouTube sensation.
The YouTube
folks.
stars.
Yeah.
Fred's a big one. He's a big YouTube star. I would think he would be a good fit for Nickelodeon. Cross-promotional opportunities missed. All right, China Unicom, or if you prefer, China Unicorn, will start selling Apple's iPhone with Wi-Fi capability next week, according to a report Thursday in the Wall Street Journal. The iPhone went on sale in China in October, but with 3G cellular service only.
According to a posting on Slashdot, the open source Mozilla project has been offering cash bounties for security bugs for 6 years now, but often bug finders just turn down the cash. Between 10% and 15% of the serious security bugs reported since Mozilla launched the program have been provided free of charge, according to Mozilla. That's just so nice of them.
That is nice.
No cash.
Just a bunch of, we just want to find some bugs.
I just want to make it safe.
I had a couple hours
Yeah.
last Saturday, and I just wanted to do something good.
Squash some bugs.
Nobody needed.
Some people are like that. Some people just like to squash bugs.
Well,
Bug hunters.
I'd still take the cash, but
bug hunters. We do
Yeah, they
it for
should
the
make that
love.
the new Discovery show instead
Right.
of like the
Bug Week.
whale people. Just
we're
have like,
we're spending an entire night in an abandoned browser hunting for bugs.
bug hunter. No.
Isn't there already a show about exterminators? It could be like browser exterminators.
Oh yeah, I
Worst
like that.
nightmare.
Kind of.
Yeah. If only we had a television network about technology. Let's move on to the calendar.
All right.
What do you see on the calendar there?
Well,
Sarah?
there's kind of a bit, Tom. Toshiba's dual-screen Libretto W100 hits Japan next week. August 11th, to be
Nice.
exact. Libretto!
Everybody's really stoked about this when they announced it in June, so we'll actually be able to see them in the wild.
Yeah, and it's nice that it happened so quickly rather than, we don't know, pretty soon, and then it kind of dies down and you forget about it. Europeans realize the dream of a single charger for all cell phones. Europe will have a one-size-fits-all charger starting next year in 2011. Color me
So
jealous.
awesome.
Yeah, seriously. And Apple's part of this. So you want to run over there and get your single charger for the iPhone and then bring it back here, but then it won't work here because it's different voltage.
Then you'd need a converter, and the whole thing is just a mess.
That
Oh,
just
I
sucks.
hate us.
Europe,
Why can't we be
Europe always gets the good
Their
stuff.
standards
Good
and
food,
chargers.
good wine,
Lines.
good chargers.
Yeah, the lack of robust economy.
Trains go to
Okay,
other
except for that.
countries.
You know what I mean. I'm just talking about chargers. I'm not being anti-American.
Machinarium.
Harpies in a bunch, people on the chat room. I see you. I'm watching.
Veronica sees all.
I see you.
I see you.
Let's plug in our universal chargers. Get to know each other. Machinarium, that's it's a machinima game.
It's a game.
It's a game.
Yeah.
Suffers from a 90% piracy rate, so says the company. Now they're offering a $5 amnesty sale until August 12th. So if you're interested in the game, now's the time.
If you've pirated it, you can make good by buying it for $5.
That's an
If you
interesting
haven't pirated
point.
it, go pirate it, so then you can make good for $5.
It really bums me out when people don't support like small developers
I know.
and well, any game developers for that matter. I know it sucks when games are like $60 and you want to play but you don't have the money. But at the same time, when there's a smaller game that's like under $10 and it's really cool and you really appreciate it, like, is it going to kill you to pitch over a little money so they can keep being creative and make more cool games that people will enjoy? So support independent developers and give them some money and don't pirate stuff like that. It sucks.
90% is actually not as bad as it sounds, because what happens is a lot of people just download stuff, everything, and they never play it, and they never would have come close to buying it. So this is a really smart thing to do on the part of Machinarium, which is to say, hey, you know what? You liked our game? Help us out. Buy it for $5. Give us a little money. It's a discount. We've sold enough at this rate. We're just going to discount it, try to make a little more money. So good job, Machinarium. Way to actually adapt to market conditions rather than just trying to sue everyone. On to the voicemail, and today's voicemail comes from someone who has some thoughts about the net neutrality proposal from Eric Schmidt. We mentioned yesterday that he said we want to prioritize all video perhaps over email, but not give individual videos priority over other videos, as an example. Well, here's what our caller thinks.
Hey TNT, it's Alan from England, sometimes Casey's in the chat room. Just wanted to talk about the Verizon and Google traffic prioritization story that you covered yesterday. Most ISPs in England already do this due to the bad quality phone cables and a lack of fiber across most of the country. And to be honest, it wouldn't be that much of a major shift. I mean, you've got high priority traffic and low priority traffic, with the high being online gaming, on-demand video, and what have you. And I appreciate that, because unless I'm waiting on entrepreneurial seminar spams, or I'm eagerly waiting for that Nigerian prince to reply, I'm not really going to notice the drop in priority for email. And emails are so small anyway that it wouldn't really make a difference. Plus, a lot of people use Gmail and Hotmail, so that point's moot anyway, because it's classed as web traffic. As always, those that particularly care won't notice the difference, and those that do care will find a way around it. Love the show. Bye.
So this is a really good point, which is quality of service is important, because if your email is a few milliseconds late, you aren't even going to notice. But if your video is buffering and you're going to notice. Or you're going to think that Tom is a jerk for doing that. I thought there was something wrong with my connection.
I guess it's just as long as everyone's got the rules apply to everybody equally.
Yeah, I mean,
I would rather not have that decision made for me, though.
Well, even if it's saying, just blanket, what we're going to do is prioritize video and VoIP traffic so that it gets there faster and it's smoother. But we're not going to say one particular VoIP provider is better than another. But if we just see this kind of traffic, we're going to give it a higher priority and quality of service. Does that still bother you?
No, I mean it's kind of it's a difficult topic, and it's a slippery slope, and those are great phrases to use when you can't decide on a matter exactly. It's funny because you can packet prioritize in your own home too if you want to boost your packets for one particular program or another. But I just don't like the idea of someone cutting down my service and I don't know. I still get confused talking about this subject sometimes. I can't decide how I feel about it exactly.
Yeah, because I think you have to violate the really extreme net neutrality in order to run a good network. You just do. I've heard that from a lot of people who've worked in networking for a long time, and I believe that. But I think there is a danger if you have this tiered internet where companies can sort of game the system, and we lose the ability to have independent video and independent web be able to compete, because they just don't have the quality of service and they're stuck in the DSL days while everybody else is going fiber. So
right.
I think there's a happy medium, and it sounds like Eric Schmidt and our caller here are sort of pointing the way towards figuring that out. Let's get to our email. TNT at twit.tv is the email address. By the way, 260-TNT-SHOW is the voicemail if you'd like to give us a call. Or you can email us an MP3, or you can even record a video and post it up on YouTube and send us that link. We'll take all of that stuff. But our email here comes from Kerry, the medical records guy in Houston, who says, I was listening to Thursday's episode where you talked about the Volkswagen that was modified to run on human feces and was just really disappointed that nobody made the obvious joke about the dung beetle.
Or did they?
Well, a bunch of people in the chat room said it, and then I was thinking of passing that along, and then...
How could you not?
I was letting somebody finish talking, and then I forgot, and then I never said it till after the show.
Well, you upset a viewer, that's for sure.
I know. We got a lot of people called in and wrote in about this. Most of them were making the joke as if they were the first person to think of it, except for Carrie, who was just upset.
He was... Hey, that was a joke.
I can't.
You just let it sit there.
You didn't make that joke? What is wrong with you?
It's the easy joke. I know. That was a bad miss, Tom.
I let Carrie down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Carrie.
You let all of us down.
I know. I did.
Well,
I'm going to do better. I promise.
Please do.
I will.
Okay, thank you. Next email comes from Tom Kelleher. From San Francisco. Hey guys, love the show. I was just browsing Engadget this morning and spotted a post about North America's first public quick charge station. Though if you take a look at the logo on the device, it looks suspiciously like the TWiT logo. Or at least it does to me. What do you guys think?
That's totally the TWiT logo.
That's pretty funny.
What, me?
Well, actually, the TWiT logo is based on an electric plug, and so is that one. So it's kind of hard.
And they both look a little like a dung beetle.
No, they don't. There's nothing dung beetle about that, is there?
No, it's kind of buggy.
On its back?
Yeah.
With its legs?
Little eyes, little round, fat belly.
Yeah.
It does look TWiT logo-esque. How about that? Electricity, the universal language.
The langue universelle. Stephen Perry, the real Stephen Perry, not that guy who sings for Journey sometimes,
because
wrote in.
He's a fake one?
You might know him as Gallifrey Rebel in the chat room. Says, Apple and Best Buy are blocking the jailbreakme.com website so that people will stop jailbreaking their demo devices. Well, that didn't stop this guy at Best Buy. And there's an Engadget story about a guy who used his Sprint phone as a hotspot to subvert the block so he could still jailbreak the demo.
Yes.
That is awesome. That's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny. We probably shouldn't be encouraging people to go jailbreak demo models of iPhones,
well,
but
it's the kind of thing you kind of just have to snicker at.
I have to admire the workaround.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody went through the trouble. It wasn't that hard.
Well done. And
do you ever go around changing all the default web pages in Safari?
I
the
used
App
to.
Store,
Yeah.
sites that you like.
I used to do that all the
Not
time.
the same thing. All,
yeah.
Still
like
kind of
10 years ago, 8 years ago, I'd go into computer stores and I'd change all the home pages to subbrilliant.com. But after a while, the thrill actually faded away after a while, and I don't do that anymore.
I have never done that, actually. I think
you should try.
So.
I've changed coworkers' homepages when they walk away for a minute to something inappropriate.
Yes,
but I've never actually tried to use it for self-promotion, which is surprising for me.
Lynn Fu, who worked at CNET, went to Michigan, and she had a Go Blue screensaver, and I went in and changed it to say Go Illini.
I bet she loved you.
She freaked out. She didn't know I went to University of Illinois, so she was like, "Who did this?"
I'll get you.
All right.
That's awesome.
Well, that's it for this show. Thank you so much, Veronica. It's great having you on again.
Thank you for having me.
Can you be on all the time?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Heather.
Heather's her producer at Future.
Oh, she's fine.
Yeah, we know.
She won't mind. I think we're fine, right?
All right,
yeah. Veronica on the show.
Problem. Okay, we'll see you every day next week.
Okay,
great.
Tell people where else they can find your stuff.
On Twitter, I'm Veronica. You can find my blog at veronicabelmont.com. Core is on the PlayStation Network, and of course, Texilla on Revision 3 every Thursday.
All right. You can find us on the web at twit.tv/TNT. Email us TNT@twit.tv. Give us a call, 260-TNT-SHOW. Thanks to Gazelle, our sponsor. Thanks to you for watching. See you next time.